Well, I'm Danny. My name's Dan. I'm from a group called Anathema. Or in the continent they say Anathema, which I prefer. But the English version is Anathema. Writing songs, mainly. Performing a few acoustic concerts, because we have like the acoustic side of the band as well, which is built on loops and pedals and the vocalists, piano. We love it. Yeah, it's another side to the project, and we like it very much. It's also easy to tour with just 3 people. It's calmer and quieter, and I love playing with the drummer. Don't get me wrong, but it's nice to have the quiet. Well, it depends what you mean by old. How old is old? If you're going back to the early 90s, the answer is no. But we do sometimes play songs from in the albums in the late 90s. That does happen. I think we're playing one tonight from the album Judgement. That was 99, which is 14 years old. Older than a lot of bands are. So it depends what you say. But if you're talking about the early doom metal days, no. The answer is no. Well, that's a different band. It's a different band. It could almost be a different name. Probably shouldn't be. It's not the same band. It just happens to be the same writer. But everything moves on. Everything changes, and music changes too, and people change, and that's as it should be. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, it usually happens with a flash of inspiration on a piano or a guitar.
With you?
Yeah, but other people write too. And then we take it to people. Usually the music gets put to my brother, the vocalist, because he's like the filter for a lot of the stuff. He kind of helps to filter what's appropriate and how to do it. It's a bit like a producer. It also goes to the producer, the main producer, who's Krista Cederberg from Norway. And he's been like the final piece of the jigsaw, because he really helps the process along. I don't really like working without him at all. There's nobody else for me really, and he's there from the beginning in terms of helping to get the songs together. We're doing the writing, but he brings it all together, and his ideas are good. It's almost like he's in the band, in the studio. And then we just build it like that. We build it like that. Now this is the first time on this next album we're doing now. It will be the first time that Krista's been there from day one, from the first demo. On the last album he came in at the studio time, but the songs were already being arranged before then. This time he's going to be more integral. It's the most natural connection I've ever had with anybody outside of the group, and sometimes much more natural than people in the group. It's amazing.
It's quite rare.
It's very rare, and it feels like we found our guy in as much as I'm sure Radiohead could say the same about Nigel Godrich, who's now playing with Atoms for Peace. The Beatles and George Martin. Well, we've got Krista, and that's how it feels. It's quite a personal question. I mean, if you're talking about art, my art is inspired by feelings. It's always been about that. And it's the same for the other guys in the band. The lyrics have always been honest. No, lyric usually comes at the end. It would start with a melody and some chords. And the vocal melodies are coming quite easily and quickly now. So it would start there, and lyrics would come later. Maybe a key lyric would come earlier, an idea about the subject, and then they would be finished later on. The arrangements would go through Vincent and Krista. Guys would play. But it's feelings, and there could be feelings about life or even states of consciousness. Higher states of consciousness, deeper states. But they're usually connected to love. I mean, all paths lead to it. So it's usually connected to love, which is just such a natural energy form, beautiful thing. So it kind of flows through that process. It flows through love, and usually a magnified emotion will come when the melody comes through, and I'll feel very emotional at that moment when it's coming through. I'm always thinking about where the music can go or where we could go, what we could do, and ideas coming through like that. So, yeah, I mean, I've always said I'd like to write a book, and that might happen one day. But at this point in time, I'm kind of rebuilding, you know, and I just try to stay in healthy routines. I like to stay fit. I try to eat right. I live in a nice house now with some good neighbours, and yeah, I like to talk with them a little bit. I like to be a bit more social than. Yeah, well, they are lovely people actually. I'm quite lucky with the neighbours I have. I moved back into a new flat 4 months ago, and they're a very nice bunch of people. So I try to connect with them a little bit. And occasionally I get these bursts of deep emotion, and if it's an uplifting emotion, great, you know. And I got one last night at the concert for Atoms for Peace. I feel a little different after that, and so in these little explosions of emotion, that's when the songs are born, you know. And so long as that keeps happening, we'll be okay. I'm doing it because it's doing me. The music is coming through me. I don't have any choice. It's been like that since I was 15. I don't have any choice. It chose me.